me bring on board our first guest for today. Joining me is Prateek Pant, who's the Chief Business Officer at White Oak Capital. Good morning, Prateek. Great to have you on the show. Let me first begin by asking you about where you think the markets are headed, given the fact that, we have once again seen gains coming in and just about, in fact, less than 2% shy of record highs. But, there is extreme volatility on the street and lots of macro cues from global markets to digest, global economy, so to say, to digest, given the fact that, there are concerns that the Fed may go in for another or a couple of more rate hikes going forward. What is your sense on where our markets are headed now?
Yeah, morning, Andita. So clearly, as you mentioned, there is a fair bit of data to digest at this point of time. The global cues, continue to be a fairly mixed bag, if one may say right now. The Fed policy is still a little bit uncertain in terms of whether there is a pause right now or you could, go in for a couple of more rate hikes. The US economic data continues to be fairly strong. Some of these type of global macro trends will tend to look at what the immediate flows or immediate news flows in the markets is going to be. But domestically, we continue to grapple with good data out here. So it's there is nothing which has changed in our own assessment as we are looking at, some of the corporate earnings come through. You spoke about the Javan phenomena, which will play out in some of the sectors, with multiplexes ringing well. Overall, services, hospitality, many of these sectors continue to be fairly strong at this point of time. So I guess it's going to be mixed. There will be cues from global markets which will keep coming through, but I think domestically we are holding strong right now, Nandita.
Right, of course, multiplex stocks expected to do well going forward. Before I move on to some other questions, I want to ask you, have you got the chance to catch Javan? Any plans to do that over the weekend?
We always, any SRK movie, my wife and daughter has to drag me to, the first day show. So yes, we had our pick last evening.
Oh, great. I think I'll touch base with you for the reviews a little later. But let's talk about, what one's strategy in the market should be at the current juncture, given the fact that mid-caps are, of course, on a high. There's a party going on in the broader end of the markets. Do you think valuations have, slipped out of comfort zone? How should one approach the mid-cap space now?
Yeah, so at a broader level, I think we're still okay with the market, but there are pockets of overvaluation which we are seeing within the small and mid cap. There are initial signs of euphoria which are out there and not necessarily the broader market going, where the earnings data is at this point of time. What we've seen is that, the flows which were primarily coming in on the large cap is actually now, very, very strong in the small and mid cap. So if you look at even domestic data, the AMFI data, which comes out on mutual fund flows over the last 3 to 6 months, almost 70 to 75% of the flows are actually coming within the small and mid cap space, right? Similarly, some of the global investors have also taken fancy to this mid cap universe. So there are pockets of overvaluation out there, but then this is the time when it is a stock pickers market. So with a bottom-up stock picking approach, and there will be some pockets of opportunity, but I must say, Nandita, that pocket is becoming smaller and smaller right now.
Right, you mentioned that one should be more stock specific in this market. Are there any specific industries or sectors within the mid-cap space that, offer a more risk-reward balance at the current juncture? And if so, which ones would you advise investors to look at?
Sure. So there are two parts out here. One, I think there have been some very interesting issuances which have happened on the primary issuances side over the last 6 months. And some of them are offering opportunities, more on the breadth side of the market. We are also seeing some interesting plays in the consumer space. Some good D2C brands on consumer side. We've seen very interesting, private hospitals, super specialized hospitals, healthcare. Those are areas, again, which are unique business models. These are the models which are really playing the India story, where you believe a $3 trillion economy is going to be $10 trillion. So the whole formalization space is going to play out. When you look at the whole electronic manufacturing universe, right? If we genuinely believe the flows where India is the alternate destination is coming through right now, you will see a lot of action happening out there. So as I said, Nandita, while overall large pockets of the market could be overvalued, but there are some interesting plays within this whole formalization or new sectors which are coming up right now.
All right. Lastly, in terms of asset allocation, what would an ideal portfolio look like at the current juncture, Prateek? How much of exposure should one have to equities, and how much of exposure should one have to some safer havens like gold at this current juncture?
So see, we run a multi-cap fund, right, where we keep looking at how we value different asset classes, and within that, what type of allocation would you make, let's say, to domestic equity versus global equity. So if I had to look at my own model right now, out of about 100 rupees, we're still allocated almost 22% to gold. We are allocated roughly about 28-29% to domestic equities, about 9% to global equities. And the rest of it is on the fixed income side. Again, within fixed income, I think there is an interesting play on REITs, which is available. They've had a fair bit of a price correction, if one would say, in the last 6 months. Sometimes the negative euphoria gets in, and people start discounting a lot of cash earnings negatively. So I think that is one space where you're seeing that happen right now. So I would say, we're roughly equal weight into equity, but looking in, a lot more on REITs, as well as, have a balanced approach to gold right now.
All right, that's the view on the overall market, as well as, how you should approach your portfolio at the current juncture. With that, Prateek, thanks a lot for taking our time and joining in this morning and sharing your thoughts with us. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Wish you a very happy weekend.
Thank you. Wish you the same, Nandita.
Thank you.